Harj Gahley's story went viral, but what you've seen is just the surface. From £250,000 in debt to the edge of his life, he's now on a mission to protect others from the same spiral. But behind every headline is the real journey, the shame, the silence, the fight to rebuild from scratch. In this episode, Harj opens up about addiction, recovery, and why gambling is targeting men and boys like never before. It's raw, it's real, and it might just change how you see the game. The content in this episode is for educational and awareness purposes only. Discussions around gambling and mental health may be triggering for some viewers. If you or someone you know is struggling, please seek support from a qualified professional or contact the National Gambling Helpline at 0808 8020 133. Opinions shared are for those of the guest and do not constitute professional or legal advice. This is the Gentleman's Health Hub podcast, the space where we talk real life, real struggles, and real growth. I'm Derick, your host, and today's episode is one that hits hard. My guest, Harj, founder of Soch, a man who went from £250,000 in gambling debt and near suicidal thoughts to becoming a national voice for recovery and resilience. This one's not about pity, it's about power, purpose, and what it really takes to change your life. Let's get into it. Thank you for coming today.
Bro, lovely you had, man. It's good.
So take us back to the start. What kind of environment did you grow up in?
So I'm not going to tell you the bullshit version. I'm just going to tell you straight exactly how I grew up. I grew up with a dad that was an alcoholic. I grew up with a mum that was working nights and Asda's. And I grew up with 3 brothers. So mum had 4 boys in 5 years. What the hell my mum and dad were doing at that time, I flipping don't know, but they're getting jiggy with it. That's what I'm saying. Definitely. But for me, I never grew up in a place in poverty, right? I want to be honest with you. But one thing that I did see was the poverty that I found in my house. So when you've got a dad that's, coming back from work at 5 o'clock in the evening, my mum's leaving home at 4:30 in the late afternoon. They're not seeing each other. They're not talking to each other. There's no communication in the house. There was fights. There were arguments.
Did you pick up on that from young?
Yeah, man. I mean, when I mean young...
How young are we talking?
I could take you as little as 4 or 5 years old. Because I always grew up in that environment. Because my dad was, since I've known
still
him...
mum and dad home though?
Yeah.
So it was still a family unit in a sense.
Sorry, my mum and dad could go through World War III and they're still together. That's what it was like, man. It was like, there was none of this stuff where we're going to separate from each other. It was like, we go to war with each other about whatever that situation may be. But what we saw as children was mum and dad fighting all the time. But then you also then saw my dad's sisters and that sort of family dynamic, that power shift of, you got to listen to me, I'm the man of the household, or no, you're a very overpowering woman. You got to listen to what I'm saying to you. But then why is she going to listen to you when you're an alcoholic and you're just laying there on the bed and all pissed?
Better question. Did you know he was an alcoholic?
100%.
At what age?
But I could take you back to the times where I was sitting in a car going to Wolverhampton when I was like 6, 7 years old.
But how did you know what an alcoholic was? Do you know what I mean?
When you see a bottle in the hand and then you go to functions, 'cause remember, if you're from the Punjabi household or you're from the Punjabi culture, drinking, no matter where you go, whether it's Christmas, a family party, a wedding, a function, there's always a bottle of famous grouse on the table. Whiskey, Bacardi, no matter where you went, like to the point I was told that, I couldn't touch the Coke where my dad and his brothers or his uncles are sitting around because they called it the dangerous Coke.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we're not stupid. They think children are stupid. We're not. And then your mum would say, don't touch that. That's sharab. In our language, that means alcohol, right? So we're already told that that's what it is.
Which is cool. Because I grew up in a family where we drink. I was going to say we drink a lot, but we drink socially. But it wasn't seen or isn't seen as a problem. My thing is, when did you... So obviously you see them saying, okay, don't drink that, that's bad. But when did you know it was a problem? Do you get what I mean? That he had a problem?
8, 9 years old. That's where I was. I remember one time my mum left to go to work in the evening because she worked nights and Asda's. My dad was upstairs and me and my brothers were playing outside because me and my brothers didn't really have a loving relationship. So when shit hit the fan, we never really opened up. But we were more like, imagine like you're with friends or your mates. That's how we sort of had that friendship, that sort of brotherlyhood growing up. I remember this one time I was 8, 9 years old and my dad made this massive noise and it was like a massive thump. So me and my oldest brother ran upstairs And my dad basically was sick everywhere. He was on the floor,
shit.
on the bed, on himself, and it stunk. I mean, I can even smell that now. The stink was just, oh, oh man. But where I realized it was a problem is what happened next, where I had to get my dad out of that bed, take him into the bath with my brother,
Wash him down.
wash him down, take him naked, take him back in bed. But in before putting him in bed, I had to take off all the duvets, clean that all up.
Just for perspective, sorry, just to cut you. How old was your brother?
2 years older than me. So
Okay.
I'm
yeah.
8, he's 10, or 9 or 11.
Yeah.
So I'm 8 and my brother's 10. Which 8 or 10-year-old does that? So that's when I knew that this is not just an alcoholic. This is, to me, not a father.
Respect was lost at that point, you think?
100%. I still don't respect him, even to this day.
Have you spoke about it?
Yeah. I mean, throughout my relationship with my dad, I've done every way you can think of it. I shouted at him. I've tried to be empathetic with him. I've tried to hide stuff from him, like all the bottles. I've tried everything I possibly can. But even to today, he does drink. But he doesn't drink as much as, like, he's not a functioning alcoholic. But if he goes to a party, you might have 1 or 2 beers. He still does it.
Did he take any steps?
No. This comes back down to that generation and the generation before it. So the way they would talk about their problems is, let's get together, let's get a bottle out, and let's talk. But not talk in the sense of, I've got a problem, let's talk about all the shit that's going on in life, or there's this person doing this, or that person bought a Bentley, or this person's doing this. It was never about actually what's going on deep within them. That's why, for me growing up, I was never shown how to navigate my emotions. I was never shown how to, like, head something on and work through what that looks like. And not only work through what it looks like, how to have some guidance, mentorship, a dad figure that can show you a right way.
Do you think this is what led to your addiction?
At the time, and when I was going through it, no. It's when I was coming out the other end of my addiction and doing my therapy, my recovery. My therapist did a bit of inner child work, and she was able to connect the dots. That's why when you said to me,
That straight away you'd be like,
that was it. Because I did CBT with NHS. That didn't work. That took me down a dark path. But through the other end of that, I found another person that helped me through my recovery, through a fantastic charity. So she known I'd done CBT, and she knew that didn't work. So that's when she just did, bro, it was literally just one session on inner child work, and she connected it. It made me realise that, hold on, this is who your dad was, this is who your mum was, this is why me and my brothers fought, especially me and my oldest brother fought all the time. Because think about it, if we've both lost respect for our dad, then who's the father household? Who's the father in the household? The eldest. That's why he demanded a lot of stuff and tried to push certain things. That's why I knuckled head with him. I was like, well, who the hell are you to me? You're not my dad. You can't tell me what to do.
yeah.
Then we'd have like blood fights and we'd have like full out blows. And my second oldest brother became a massive introvert. And then my younger brother then went on to just not isolating himself, but he just carried on his own path on his trajectory. But no one throughout this whole ordeal said, guys, this is what's going on. Like, how do we
It was
face
never
it?
addressed.
It never was. Underlining, we've had those problems, we could see it, but no one opened up about
What
it.
was your mum like with it all?
Okay, so my mum stepped into her true alpha. So she wasn't feminine growing up. She was on that, she would beat us as kids, you know, with none of this stuff like we're now.
Gets like that
Man,
sometimes.
of course it does. Of course, that's a different generation.
Yeah.
But check this out. So my dad he's that, my dad wasn't like a loud person. Those time you get those aggressive dad. No, far from it. Very quiet, that sort of humbleness. But my mum went straight into survival mode. She's looking after 4 boys. She's working nights in Asda. She's making sure we're looked after, we're fed, that not only is she putting money on the table, that she's paying the bills. So she's pure in survival mode. But then at the same time, what do boys want? We're looking for leadership from my dad and guidance from my dad, which we're not getting. But then we're also looking for affection and love from our mothers. But then my mum's trying to, through all this chaos, trying to go, well, I can't give you everything. I can give you certain amounts. But then when we saw it happening with other brothers, we're like, we got jealous. Well, where's mine?
Yeah.
And if we did get it, it's a bit like someone saying to you, I'm just going to give you just a drop.
It's a little bit of it. A little bit of it.
Yeah, just a drop, man. And then we have starvation, we have hunger. And that led me on to looking for other places to seek that validation or seek that connection. That's why growing up, I was a massive, massive people pleaser.
Okay.
Because I became that person. Life sold the party, first on the dance floor, last one off, or if I don't go there, I'm gonna hit massive FOMO because I need to know what was going on so I could be in that situation. And I'd be that first person you could call and the last person I can be there to be a shoulder on.
Yeah.
Because it validated me.
What's your first memory of gambling?
I left university with a couple of friends. I made a bit of money after that. So I went to university. I did a typical Indian degree. I did law. So,
Typical Indian degree.
man, listen, if you're not doing dentistry, medicine, pharmacy, economics,
You're doing law.
I did law. But I didn't pursue it though. Because it wasn't for me, man. Like, you think someone like this expert, like this person with this energy is going to be a lawyer.
You'll be fighting some crazy cases. You could do criminal.
Nah, bro, but they'll think I'm on drugs because of where I am. I'm on human like nusha. So for me, I remember we went out on a night out with a couple of friends, but I made a bit of money because I sold a company. It was a bit like Facebook at that time.
Okay.
Had investors and stuff like that. So I started it in 2007 after I left university, sold it in 2009, and I made a bit of money off it. Not millions, but some change. So bear in mind, before that, for me, success was 40, 50 grand a year, get a house, drive a Mercedes, Audi, get a kid.
Stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was ingrained to, growing up to thinking. But then also, that society taught me, well, if you're not a person of value and you're not doing that sort of stuff, then you're a failure, right?
Yeah, very much so.
So going back to your question about when did it first start, I remember it was a night out in Birmingham, Broad Street. Not knocking Birmingham, but Broad Street can be a dive. But I remember we were going to the casino and I remember walking in and this feeling of like, damn, like these lights, people having fun. Do you know, it's a bit like, you ever watch James Bond?
Yeah.
So what does it feel like? When they watch that, they're always like these high class, upper echelon, suave, and with the big deals, that people in there have got money. That's how I felt, man. I was like, damn, like these lights, I can hear people laughing, I can hear the croupiers, everything, right? It's a new sensation to me, so all my senses are going off the radar. So I'm now sat down on a blackjack table, watching my friends play. They go, now get your money out, let's play. All right, get 20 quid out, put money down. And then now they're coaching me, right, this is soft 17, this is a blackjack, you stand here, oh, actually take a card. Within like 30, 40 minutes, I turned 20 quid into 60 quid. Now my brain is going...
This is your first time?
First time. Right. First time, man. My brain's going, I've made 20 quid, I've turned 20 quid into 60 quid in 30, 40 minutes. Now, what if I can ramp that up? Okay, this is free, easy money.
That addictive mind. Yeah. You see that, Mike? See, as soon as you said that, you see why I've never got addicted to gambling is because my fear of losing overpowers it. So even if I've gone in and I'm your simple roulette, man. There's no strategy to my gambling. Zero, don't give me no strategy. I don't want no strategy.
I'll give you my strategy.
There's zero strategy. My birthday, daughter's birthday, mum's birthday, best friend's birthday,
Yeah.
You'll hit all those numbers, might throw in a few randoms, £100 to whatever it may be. If I win, cool. I might take it, or I might whittle it straight back down to that £100, or even go to zero. You see, once I hit zero, I'm going home.
Yeah. Not me.
What happened on your first night?
Not me.
What happened?
So I walked out of that. So I basically walked home.
With your £60 money?
60 quid. Because remember, we went in there. Do you know the reason we went in there is because a friend of mine was like, let's carry on the party. They give you free drinks, free food. So let's just enjoy, bro.
There was a plan.
100%.
Yeah.
But what happened was, we carried on. So then what happened, we'd go every other week. Then it became every week. Then it became... As a group. Because then I kept going out more. Right? Because I had this long... lucky streak, shall we say. And plus I had money behind me, right? I sold a company, so I had a bit of cash. And for me, remember, I was validating, I was people pleasing, so I was still like, let's go out, man, let's go out.
So you was the man in that circle of friends?
Yeah, because listen, I had one mate that worked in KFC, I had another person that worked in Dixon.
You're the man.
So I'm the man. I'm the top dog, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I kept dragging them out, right? Because it validated me, right? So then we'll go out, we'll do this, we'll do that. But then what happened was, rather than getting every week, I caught myself going, not every other day. I kept getting myself going every day, but not with them, by myself.
That's when it kicked in.
I'll tell you when it kicked in is when the reason I started going every other day by myself is because I started losing. So then I saw myself, right, I've got to get that money back.
Start chasing.
Yeah. So I'll take £100, bet £100, lose £100, take another £100, go. That's where it started off.
But why didn't your mind just say, okay, take the L?
No, man. I had a mindset of a winner. I'm not leaving.
Said, I'm a winner. I'm about to win this back.
Yeah, man. Listen.
Yeah.
But that's what I was trying to tell myself and trick myself into believing. But then what happened was it started in the casinos. Then I got introduced to the bookies because that meant I didn't have to go all the way to the casino.
Okay.
That's when I've never been into football bets and accas and that sort of shit. I've always been into like just straight up horses and dogs. You know, the most I've ever won on a horse race. I think the most I've ever won in a gambling win is 10 grand. So I put 2 grand on the nose of a horse and that came through. 10 grand in my bank, boom. You know, now
How did that feel?
man, I'm Billy Big Bollocks here. I'm the person that went. Remember, this shows that I read. Do you remember Ed Hardy back in the days?
Yeah.
Remember that bit of a craze back in that sort of 2007?
Ed Hardy was going mad.
Yeah,
mad.
man. So for me, that was it. So I'll go and get myself an Ed Hardy t-shirt with the little sequins on there.
You
Because
thought you was the man in the Ed Hardy top. Remember my Ed Hardy tops?
you have that, man. Forget Kenzo back then. Ed Hardy was the one.
Man in Ed Hardy.
Right. So I'd go and buy all that sort of clothing, garms, and to make myself feel good, make myself feel like I'm a million bucks, right? But also that's what casinos really do really well as well. They make you feel like $100 or $1,000,000. So not only was I just gambling, then I found myself in the horses, in the bookmakers. That means I didn't have to go too much. Then came the rise of Vegas in your pocket. So in the smartphones, that's when I realized, well, hold on, I can start betting on here.
Now you haven't got to leave it. Sorry to say. Now you haven't even got to leave your house.
Bang, hit the nail on the head. But that didn't start till later on. So when I sold my company, I made that money, right? Within a year of selling it, 2010, this is when I was early in, I would say most in the casinos and a bit in the bookies. I'd basically wiped out all that money.
All of it.
All of it.
On gambling.
On gambling.
So, all right. Just for example, we're not going to disclose the exact figure. Yeah. Let's say, we'll just say 10 grand. Definitely not 10 grand. Definitely a lot more than 10 grand.
Yeah.
When you hit half, didn't you get a, oh shit, feeling?
Yeah.
Halfway down. We're halfway down and you fucked up half your money. What was the feeling? Wasn't your belly going?
So you said it perfectly. I fucked up. So what do most men do when they fuck up? Try to fix it.
Yeah.
And the only way you fix it is by chasing it.
You're fixing it the same way you fucked it up.
100%. From fucking
Where's the logic in that?
But because we are chasing our worth. That's the truth. We're chasing our worth. Remember, if think about it, if I said to you, right, bro, you've just lost 5 grand, how would you feel?
I'm pissed.
Yeah. So what would you automatically try to think to do?
How to get that 5 grand back?
Boom. There you are. So the only way that I knew how to do that was through gambling.
Oh, all right, cool. There, that's your response.
Yeah.
The only way you knew how to do it.
Yeah.
There you go. It wasn't the only option.
It's the only
way you knew how to do it.
Because remember, even though I lost that money, remember there were times where I'd won money because there was always saying, right, to create a new belief, you create a new experience. Remember, like I said to you, if I've won, say, 2 grand or 5 grand here and there, my belief is I've done it before, I can do it again.
Exactly that.
Right? So you get fooled by your own experience and own beliefs. So what happened was, I remember this, I was sitting in a casino and I was about 5 o'clock in the morning, I went back home. I'm sitting in my apartment going, I've got literally no money. So the money I made, I was even more in debt because I'd basically used credit cards, I'd got overdrafts, I've taken a couple of loans. So forget that money that I made for the sale.
You're fucking me up. So you've lost the money on the sale, but you've gone into the bank, you've got overdrafts, you've got credit. Well, you might have had them already.
No, that's because you had your uni life.
Yeah, little ones, whatever. And you've used these to what? Does anyone know? Who knew?
No one. So check this out. So I knew that I couldn't. I remember sitting in my apartment going, I've got no money for rent. I've got no money for food. I can't pay my phone bill. So I couldn't even pay that month's rent. So you know what I did? Packed my bags, got on the Virgin Pendolino from Birmingham because that's where I was living at the time. Got on the train, hid in the toilets because that's when the conductors came. Got back to Slough. Right, walked in. I go, Mum, I've messed up. I made some bad decisions. But I didn't tell her it was gambling. I said I had a bit of money, I made a bit of money. I've totally messed up. I just need to come back and just sort my life out a little bit. You know, parents, especially Asian parents, right? When shit's the fan, even when I tell you my later journey of the story, most parents want to protect you as
Of
opposed to
course.
help you. And actually what you find out by protecting you, they're also aiding your addiction as well.
Yeah, because you're not going to help you address the actual problem.
Yeah. So what did my mum say? That's cool, man. Look, you work it out. So in my head, I've always been great in my belief, right? I've always known in myself I can always achieve greatness, right? Always. But what happened as well is that when I was in Birmingham, remember one of my investors? So she ran a massive property firm. She lived in you know those houses that you see on MTV Cribs? Like that, bro. She had 2 massive lion statues in the front drive.
Crazy.
So I used to spend a lot of time with her. When I'm in that house, I'm seeing her kids, and she never made food at home. They always eat out, like Pizza Express or wherever it may be. So when I've seen that lifestyle, and they've got, a 911 Turbo, they've got a brand new 6 Series, they've got brand new X5s, and they're driving around and they're mingling with the best, and they're around these. I'm thinking, bloody hell, man! I've never seen this. I've never grown up in this environment, and now I've been open to this door. I'm like, wow, I want more of it. So going back home, I've known that there's a lifestyle like that. So right, I'm gonna go and get myself a job. I know one thing I do. I'll go back into corporate. Got some fantastic. I worked for some fantastic Fortune 500 companies. I worked for the royal family. I worked in the private jet industry. So, bro, I was on like 6-figure salaries, but it was enough, was it? Because I'd seen the other style of lifestyle.
Exactly that.
So in order to have that lifestyle, and remember, like I said to you before, especially if you're in that South Asian culture, anyone from the outset would look at Harj and go, he's killing it, man. He's in a top job and in 6 figures.
He's nice.
Yeah, man. He seems like a cool guy. Bro, no one knew what was going on because I wasn't intoxicated. Know when someone's on drugs or alcohol,
You can see
you
it.
can see it, bro. You can smell it or you can see it. Bro, gambling's not like that. It's what we call an emotional roller coaster. It's also known as the hidden addiction. Reason for that, right? So everyone will look at me and they go, wow, man, this guy's making it.
Killing it in life.
So went back home in 2010. I went to America in 2012. I went for a mate's stag in Vegas. Had a stopover flight in New York. Met my girlfriend at that time on a flight back from New York. Found out she lived in Hayes, around the corner. Pretty much love was in the air. Got married to her in 2014, my now wife. And then had our first child in 2017. His name is Jeevan, and I want you to remember that. And then hit the pandemic. So 16th June 2020 is when shit got real. But before we get there, no one, not my brothers, not my mothers, my wife, my friends, knew what was going on. I think they had an inkling there was some issues.
But didn't know exactly what it was.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you why they think they had the issues. Because the way I was moving. I was begging, I was borrowing, I was stealing, I was defrauding.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Because what does gambling need? It needs time and money. Both I had. Like, to give you some context, man. Like, I borrowed money from my parents. Loads.
What did you tell them you was using it on?
Oh, bro. We talk about... They're known as compulsive gamblers, right? But they don't talk about the compulsive lies they become too as well.
Stupid shit.
Bro, I could tell you a lie. So say if I needed money from you, right? I could tell you a lie and make you feel so sad and have so much empathy for me in being in that position that if you didn't give me money, you'll feel bad for your own skin for not doing that. That's how much of manipulators we are. We're not narcissistic pricks. That's who we are, right? That's what we are in that mental state. So I could do everything. Oh, bro, I've got bailiffs, I've got this, or
You're saying all kinds of shit.
bro, oh man, listen, oh, my mum's messed up, I need money for this and this and this. Bro, I could tell you every single line of the book and I'll make it believable. That's the reality of it.
But no guilt though, no feeling, no, oh shit, I'm taking a piss.
I will take money off you, full well knowing that I can't pay you back. And I have no intention of paying you back.
You ain't even got the intention.
No.
That's how fucked up you are. You don't even have the intention of paying me back. If you win,
No.
you're not going to give me money back.
No.
Why not?
Because I'm going to use that to go and chase my losses. Because that win isn't covering my losses, is it?
Oh, you're still trying to come back.
Yeah. And so I talk about, I was a Tasmanian devil of relationships. So I came in there, whirlwind. So when the relationships were basically disintegrated or they'd lost, it's not because of their fault. I was one that created it. And I full well knew that I'm at the crossroads of fucking this relationship up. And you know what? I didn't care. I would happy to take that route if it fuels my gambling addiction. That's the reality of it, man.
Crazy.
And no many people, and I'm telling you with all authentic and honesty, because people that watch this will go, actually, man, like, think of it this way, right? Let me put it in a different context to you. Have you seen a crackhead on the street?
Yeah.
Right. So a friend told me this. What you had was crackhead confidence.
Ah, yeah. There's nobody more confident than a crackhead.
Yeah. And because what? They do everything in their power, tell any sort of lie, do anything, or whatever they need to get that money, to get that fix.
It's exactly the
Same
same.
thing. It doesn't matter if it's alcohol. It doesn't matter if it's shopping. It doesn't matter if it's whatever it is, whatever addiction you have, porn, same thing. Whatever you do, you'll go and find that fix, and you'll do it at whatever cost.
How did your wife find out?
I think it was a series of that secrecies and lies. So know when certain things, like little subtleties. So I'm working late, or he's buying me expensive stuff and then we can't go out, or we're not even going Nando's. No, we used to go Gilgamesh, we'd go Shaka Zulu, we'd go all these places. Now we're not even going to these. We're just going to all these like shitty places. Or actually, we've arranged a date with friends. Now we're cancelling on them. Oh, hold on, but then there's a debt letter, there's a bailiff letter. What's going on? But that'd always make a lie. Like there'll be certain times where, like anniversaries or Christmas, I wouldn't even buy a present because I'd gamble money away. Or, be honest, I'd steal. I'd go into say like a Debenhams or House Fraser.
Oh shit, you was a thief.
Yeah, bro. Because I've gambled money away. I've got to buy a present. Guess what I'm gonna go and do? Steal. Remember, like I said to you, beg, borrow, steal, defraud.
Did you get caught stealing?
No. Which did what?
Made you keep doing it.
Yeah. I'll tell you a true story. So I talk about defrauding. So an organisation I was working with at the time, I stole a lot of money from them. But because of their status and who they were, they had a royal status, they couldn't go public with it. So because they couldn't go public with it, I was just told to resign. Nothing would happen.
And you got away with it.
Yeah. So I'm a cat with 9 lives. So what does that do then?
You can do it again.
I do it again. It doesn't stop you. It just tells you that you just gotten away with it. So that's why it got worse. Not just the money and how much I'm betting, but the lies, the begging, the everything became like 10x in everything aspect of my life. You know, I'll be at work. Like, let's go for drinks. When I've won, we're buying the whole bar out. When I've lost, now I can't make it. I've got work.
Not even going for one.
I'm going for one. Like, for an example, bro, I was in work in this private jet place, and I had $9,000 sitting in my account with this betting company. So what happened was, I was like, damn, because back then the way it'd work is that if you had money in your account and you withdrew it, you can reverse it, but you can only reverse it from midnight. And
explain that. What do
so
you mean?
so it's changed now. So if I won, say, like $2,000, and I'm withdrawing, it doesn't withdraw straight away. It waits until midnight and then withdraws it.
So you could withdraw it twice.
So I can reverse a withdrawal.
Oh shit.
Because they know that if you're an addictive behavior, an addictive habit, that's why these betting companies got you in lock, because they know exactly the mindset of a gambler and an addict.
It's a dark place.
I mean, we'll get onto that in a bit, but for me, I'd won money, but I'd passed that threshold, right? So I had about $9,000 in my account. In my head, I'm going, I turned like $2,000 into $9,000. What if I turned that into 19 or 90 grand? Boom. Okay. So I went into toilets, sat there, not having a shit, not having a piss, nothing. Like, I was just sitting there, just gambling away. Within 20 minutes, bro, I just blew that 99 grand away. But it's the way you react. I remember, wow, banging the wall, swearing to myself. The way you talk to yourself and the way you like shout at yourself and the things you say to yourself, you wouldn't even wish this upon your worst enemy, bro. But you do it to yourself happily. But then what do? I do that for like a couple of minutes, then go back into the workplace. How's it going, John? You all right, mate? How's it going? You done that project? Oh, I've got a meeting up. So I had to switch the masks.
And you can't even see it in your eyes.
Nah, bro. Because we become fantastic at hiding and wearing these different masks.
My eyes would be red. I'd be crying like a bitch.
Yeah. And no one just knew what happened. But everyone goes, oh, man, look, Harj is cool, man. Like, he's happy, he's chirpy, he's great. No one knew. Not my work colleagues, not family, not my wife. No one.
Take me to the M1.
No. Let's go back before that.
Go on then.
So you asked me how my wife found out. 16th of June 2020. I've lost my job. I'm in the pandemic, mid-pandemic. About 8 o'clock in the morning. I come out the shower. My son Jim's playing in his room. Hot weather. And I walked in my bedroom. My wife's sitting on the edge of the bed, bro, bawling out. Like, I've never seen her cry like this. And then she looked up at me and, bro, has anyone ever like looked at you with just pure disappointment before?
I'll be honest, yeah.
Okay. And that feeling gets to your heart, doesn't it?
It's in your gut.
Hits you in the gut. I asked her, man, what's going on? What's wrong? What's happened? Bro, she's bawling out. Bawling, like crying. But then I noticed something in her hand. It was my phone. So it became about, fuck you and what you're crying about. What have you found? So I was like, bro, because I told so many lies up until then. I remember her looking up at me and turning around the phone. There it was, bro. Transaction after transaction after transaction. Because she found my hidden Monzo account. Got access to it. I'm not talking like 100. I'm not talking like 1,000, tens of thousands. I was in debt of £250,000 because of my gambling addiction. Let's say again, man. That's £250,000.
Yeah.
And I was on a 6-figure salary. It's not like I could earn that. Do you know what I mean?
But then my thing is, how did you feel? Like, so you knew the figure.
Yeah. Well, no, we figured it out together.
Ah, so you didn't know how deep you was in.
Because I didn't want to know. Remember, imagine now, right? You're sitting with your partner, going through your finances one by one. There's this debt, there's this loan, there's this payday loan, there's this credit, there's this credit card, there's this, there's that. Oh, then you've got another Barclays account, you've got this other Lloyd's account, you've got a Starling account.
And what was her first instinct was to help?
Nah, run out the door.
Oh, she can leave you.
I broke the fundamental thing of every relationship, trust. So she's gone, bro. Like, pack your bags, you're gone. Bro, like, you know, for so long I was chasing a jackpot, right? Not realising my jackpot is in front of me. And she was, I mean, my ride or die through everything. Because I put her in positions where I made her hate everyone else well because I've done certain things to them, right? So not only am I thinking, shit, man, I fucked up everything here. I now have to navigate through, I'm going to lose my son. I'm not going to see him again. That hurt me, bro. That, like, imagine as a father going, you've been told to get lost. You're never going to see your son again. And we just found out by that time, my wife was also pregnant with our second child, who's going to be born in 2021. I remember sitting there going, flipping out, bro. Like, why have I done this to myself? Why have I put my family through this? And hours have gone by, because we basically isolated my in-laws. She came back up and she said, look, if we're going to work through this, bang, right, that's it. That's my cue card. I've got an opportunity.
You was in.
I was in. I've got a chance.
Yeah, you was in.
I don't care what it's going to cost me. I'm going to go all in this. Sorry, right? Pardon the pun. She goes, if you're going to we're going to work on this. You're going to have to get professional help. Man, I've got it. Nah, man, my ego's kicked in. Like, I don't need professional help. I can do this. I've got this.
Yeah.
I've got this unlocked. She goes, no. I don't think you understand severity here. I'm giving you a lifeline. If you don't get professional help, I'm basically kissing you goodbye. You are literally not seeing everything. But then who do you ask, man? Put yourself in that situation. Who do you ask for help? Your parents? Your brothers? Your friends?
Me would be my brothers. I think, I can't relate because I haven't done it or been there. But I think as a unit, as you said, they don't really see it though, do they? I think mine may. We're very close. They may see it.
Yeah.
They may see it. And I would be like, you know what, bro? Tail between my legs.
Yeah.
Pissed.
So I'm proud of you for having that relationship with your brothers. I don't. So like I said to you growing up, that wasn't my case. So I realised that the shame and guilt kicks in, the ego kicks in. I even contacted my local temple. I was that desperate.
Oh, shit.
I was like, can't go there. I had to call him. Bro, I came off that call feeling more judged than anyone else before.
Oh, there was no...
Bro, imagine you going to a church or your place of worship and going, man, I've got this issue, and then they're basically making you feel shitty about it and then judging you for what you've done. Like, that's not what it's meant to be, right? From a young age, that's what we've been told.
Yeah.
Go to a temple, go to God, like they'll help you. Nah, man, I was worse off. Went to NHS, put myself in. Once again, pandemic, so I'm not seeing anyone face to face. It's all on Zoom. Not only just not one-to-one on Zoom, they're throwing in they're throwing in the lines then. So I'm round with all the other addicts. And bro,
He's a worse addict than me.
oh, but yeah. But then not part of it as well. It's like, you look at yourself, you go, what the am I doing here, man? I'm like, some of these people are like, I'm not going to say in the
Some
nice way.
interesting characters.
Interesting characters. You think, like, you haven't got a job. You know, you're gutless, all these sort of people. Bro, I've got a roof over my head. I'm dressed well. I've got a fantastic job. What am I?
You think to yourself, I'm not like these people.
100%. That's why I stopped going to the bookmakers. Because I got myself in there. I'm like, you know, it's almost like...
This is a bit low end.
Yeah, man, you feel like... You know, you get the dirty pubs and those dirty areas and you're like, man, I'm not worse this place. I'm higher than this place. That's why I preferred casinos because...
Uptown,
bro. Then I thought, well, actually, I can do it on my phone. But it's that feeling. And I felt to myself, I felt like a piece of dirt in that place. So I stuck to the plan. I thought I was getting better. In reality, I wasn't. I was getting much, much worse. And then kicked in the self-sabotaging dialogue. That's what happened on the night of the M1.
Tell me about the M1.
Do you know, if I was a kid, I would just loved it if someone would say to me, "No, let's spend a bit of time with each other. You're okay. You're safe. You've got this. Navigate through. Help me through my emotions." But because I didn't have that and I didn't understand that, my head was saying to me, "You're a piece of shit. You're a fucking failure. You put your family in 250k debt. Your children, who the fuck are you to be their father?" That's what was going through my head. That was circulating time and time and time. They have that saying, me, myself, and I. I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't eating well. I thought I was meant to be getting better. I'm actually getting worse. Because in the Bible, right, it tells you if you speak your truth, it sets you free, right? No one equips you for the guilt that comes after that, bro. And that guilt was getting me.
It's dark before it gets light.
You don't see that. So for me, I remember I was coming back from Nottingham. I was actually driving past it yesterday, M1, near Leicester Forest Services, going through my head, pieced all these negative thoughts. Remember I said to you, the way I was talking to myself, I want to wish upon my worst enemy. The way I'm just feeling and I'm gonna be okay. Let me be honest. I don't think I've really been honest about this, but I'll be honest here. It was premeditated. I knew and I saw what it took to come out of that hole. 250k debt. My family. I had bought a house, I had life insurance. So if I do what I think I'm going to do, but make it look like an accident, I can go, but my family will get a payout. And that was the thing. So I remember I was doing about 80, 90 miles per hour on the motorway, on third lane, and buckled my seatbelt, took it off, let my hands go off the steering wheel, closed my eyes. I said, "God, whatever happens, happens." Bro, bang. Straight into the Central Reserve. Oh, man. I didn't know if I was dead or alive, if I'm honest with you. But then I sort of woke up in this daze and this haze. I'm like, shit, am I dead? Is this what the other side looks like? Do you know what I mean, bro? You don't know.
I said, is this what the other side looks like?
Yeah, bro. I'm fucking still in the same place. I thought it was meant to be white. I thought it was meant to be clouds. Do you know what I mean?
Am I en route to heaven?
Yeah. I thought there's an escalator up here somewhere, bro.
Yeah, that's wild.
But check this out. I was that fucked up, right? I was that fucked up that I even fucked up even attempting suicide.
Yeah. That's why I asked you that question yesterday. We was in the pre-call. And my team was like, what the fuck did you just ask him?
Yeah.
I said, remember I said to you, did you feel like a super dickhead?
I was, bro. I did feel like it. I felt like a piece of shit. I felt like a worthless piece of shit. So for me, I remember that after all the chaos, I panicked. I'm trying to start the car, trying to drive off. How the fuck am I going to drive off in this car? The airbags are blown off. Bro, like, I mean, I think I've sent you some pictures, bro. I mean, I can tell you. So the paramedic came on scene and they're like looking at the car. They looked to me. This lovely old lady, she was like, "Man, like, Harj, I'm going to say one thing to you. if you don't believe in a higher power or God or spirituality, do. Because I walked out of that, bro, with just a few scratches on my face. No broken bones, nothing else.
Crazy.
So something was keeping me here. And I didn't realize what it was until 2 days after. So even what happened, I still didn't register it. Maybe because the adrenaline was kicking in too much and everything else. And it took me a while to calm the space down. And even then, I didn't even tell my wife what I did. I had to keep it at wraps because she's still pregnant. I didn't want to get that stress on her.
Yeah.
I remember things weirdly started changing in my life. This overwhelming sense. I think everything was catching up on me. The anxiety started kicking in. I started having panic attacks. And ironically, the way I found what I find therapeutic is to go on a drive. So I'd got my 2-year-old son, put him in the back of my wife's Ford Fiesta, and I went for a drive around Slough. Not that it's the bloody picturesque place, but it's just a place, right? And I remember I'm driving around and I'm just going through this head rush of panic in my head. And my son said, Dad, I want to go to McDonald's. He's only 2 at the time. He didn't really ask for it. I'm like, cool. Went to McDonald's. And I went to the drive-through. I said, what do you want? He goes, I want some chips. Got him some chips. Not happy? No, just chips. Got to the bit, paid for it, went to the next bit. I remember the lady giving it to me. So imagine I'm in the driver's seat, my son's sitting in the rear passenger. I passed it over, and he just did this thing, which is, it's not what he said, it's how he made me feel. He took me to a place where I found myself as a 2-year-old in that place. So I found myself in a place where, shit, I was about to call it quits. And I've got a 2-year-old here
That needs me.
that needs me. Because for that whole period of my life, I was so obsessed and self-delusional that I had my own blinkers on. And I was so selfish in my ways that I didn't realize I had dependents. I had my children, I had dependencies, I had responsibility. And it's what he said to me that changed my whole life. I think that's been my biggest driver in making sure that I am the man I am today. It's the fact that every time I look at that and I feel it and I can take myself back there. It's just because it's such a profound moment and the one that I needed. And that changed the course of my life.
Does he remember it?
No,
Ever spoke about it?
he's too young. Perhaps he does. He's 7 now, and I've got a 4-year-old now. Perhaps that's a conversation I would have with him at a later date.
Have you seen any? Obviously, he was too young to have any trauma from the scenarios or anything happening, so he was very unaware, right?
I'm very unaware. Because even now, he doesn't know about any of that stuff. I won't open up to him about that stuff yet. But what we can do is know like things like what they see online with the roadblocks and all this stuff.
Yeah.
We've got to be a bit mindful
Definitely
with it.
limit it.
Yeah. But so through that and what happened with my son, I realized that I'm going to make a change here. So I worked on myself. I worked on my family. I got better. I helped a friend's business grow because I remember I still got to get out of this debt.
Yeah.
So I helped a friend with his business.
Gambling's fully stopped now.
Yeah. Even before that, like 16th June 2020, that's when I stopped. I'm almost 5 years.
Yeah.
Almost 5 years now into like being gambling free.
That's great.
So I realised I had to come out of the debt first. So one, I surrendered all my finances, let my wife look after that. And a friend had a security guard business. I helped him with that. He was in the minus. So I said, right, look, cool. Let me use my skill sets on what my therapist said to me. And I was talking about this before, was like, she said, listen, Hard, look, let me give you something and a big piece of advice. And people that watch this, they're going to get this too. That people that have addiction have the most powerful superpower that anyone could ask for. I was like, what are you talking about? Let me put it in a different way. You're in 250k debt right now, yeah? Yeah. If I said to you, can you get £100 or £1,000 to go gamble again? 100%. So you have the belief you can get what you need to serve that outcome, right? So Squash the addiction, keep the habit, but put it into something that's going to give you the outcome that you deserve. That's always stuck with me, because you'll be so resourceful and get £100 or £200 or £1,000 to gamble. Just apply it to something that's going to give you the outcome.
Yeah.
Same thing happened in business. So to give you some context, so pandemic, need security guards. You remember we had those 2 meter things and
Yep.
guards were needed. So I was like, cool. I can't get new contracts, but what I'll do is I'll contact Securitas, G4S, all these companies. Listen, do you mind subcontracting? I've got a bunch of security guards sitting here. I didn't. Let me help you out. Oh, we need 2 people in Grimsby. When? Tomorrow. Right. Give me an hour. I'd go onto Facebook group, find an SI license page. Right. I'd put a post up there. I need 2 security guards for Grimsby tomorrow, fully paid. Right. I've got 4 back. Go back to the client. I've got 4. Where are they? Grimsby and Sunderland. Okay, we need 2 in Sunderland. Right, cool. Started with that. Then it became 2. Then it became 10. It became a minus £30, a minus £30,000 business to generate 1.25 million in 1 year. Within 2 years, I squashed my addiction. I squashed my debt. So 250k gone.
It's a big number, you know that, right?
Yeah, it is a big number. And but I want people to realize that it's only a number. And there are other ways you can come out of this, because yes, you can get the therapy, but no one talks about the financial recovery. This is what I help people with. I'm like, well, hold on, let's work through it. Let's help you out. Because if your financial recovery isn't part of the process, then you're going to relapse again.
Yeah.
So I learned that I know how to come out of this. I'm just going to position it in a different way. And then, but the truth is, you have an addictive habit. Your guest before you has an addictive habit. We all are addicts to something, whether we like it or not. We've just not chosen to tune into it and use it to its full potential. So you've got to ask yourself, what is that? And what you tune into that, you turn up the dials, things will fly.
I'm obsessed with success.
Yeah. But
Obsessed with it.
success is a byproduct of something else. So if you have to look at it, right? Let's be honest. So if you looked at success, what is the definition of success to you?
Freedom.
Okay. Freedom comes from where?
No, when I say freedom, I mean freedom from the rat race. That'll be my idea of full success.
But why is that so? What's so important about being away from the rat race?
Family time,
Yeah.
time with friends, being more present.
Okay.
I think being present would be the key thing that I define success as. Because even though I may spend time with you as my friend, but my friend says it all the time, I'm there, but I'm on my phone and I'm doing stuff. I'm like, yeah. I found myself doing it the other day. It was literally, I went on a walk. I'm doing a lot of well-being stuff. I went on a walk with 2 of my friends and was walking. We literally talking about a concert. And they said, yeah, if they done this, blah, 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 this would happen. Because I'm on my phone doing what I'm doing, we was on a walk. I came back and I said, yeah, you know, if this done it, and they both looked at me like, are you present? And I thought to myself, do you know what? I feel like I'm doing it all. And I'm doing well, don't get me wrong. But I'm not ever fully present. So you see that point where I feel like I've done enough and I can be still for a bit and then now be present and give you my time. That's full success.
Okay. So let's look at it differently. So what's your highest value in life?
Time.
Is it?
I think time.
Okay.
I personally think time. I think time has the highest value because you can't get it back.
That's superficial,
How's time superficial?
because time is not something you can control.
True.
So what's your highest value?
Can't control family. I'm thinking of something I can control now.
But what can you control through family?
Relationships.
And what's the byproduct of relationships?
Don't know.
So what do you need for a healthy relationship, or a relationship that meets you both ways?
Time.
No?
What do you need?
You tell me.
What do you need for a healthy relationship? This is a hard question. You kind of fucked this up. I'm meant to be asking you. All right. For a healthy relationship, what do you need? Understanding.
Okay.
Respect.
Okay. Right. So what does respect give you?
What does respect give you? What, feeling wise?
Yeah.
Level of, stature.
Yeah. And what does that feed? If you have respect
What
and you
feeds
do
your
this for your
ego?
family, what are you doing this all for?
We say it's feeding your ego.
No, it's it's something more blissful than that. I can see it in your face. I can see it in your heart. I can see it in your soul.
What's it feeding? You got me here.
This is why, and the reason why I say this is because people don't align their values with what they want in life, which is why there's a disconnect. When you truly align these, everything changes. So, integrity, respect is what men want.
Yeah.
Love is typically what women want, right? And we find love through respect and integrity. That's totally different things.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's not a highest value. Highest values for me, I'll tell you personally, faith, legacy, love.
Legacy is a key one. That's a very key one. Love, of course, but legacy definitely.
So here's the truth.
Faith, yeah.
If and this will happen and watch this. So when you look at this and you tell yourself, right, what's my highest value? If it's legacy, brilliant. Because guess what happens? When you feed the value of legacy, everything falls in like dominoes effect.
Underneath it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're building towards that.
Yeah, because success is a byproduct of building your legacy. So you focus on that, that'll happen anyway. So but this is all the stuff I have to rewire. Because remember, I talk about this as well. So when you're in addictive habits, you keep the habits, but you tweak it to the outcomes. So I don't look at goals. I hate nobody people set their goals and goal setting. Bollocks. I hate that shit.
I love it.
Bollocks.
I love it. Day by day I do tasks. Well, it's not goals per se, but I have to do tasks that I tick off.
Yeah.
That keeps me, like, if I don't tick off my tasks, I feel like I haven't achieved in the day. But you're saying, no, forget the goals.
I hate the fucking goals. Hate them. Do you know
Why?
why? Because they're motivating goalposts that can be moved based on the person's emotions.
All right. Yes and no. But with no... All right, the goalpost is always going to move. It's always going to move. So once I hit that target, it's always going to be the next one, on to the next one. I'm here for that.
Yeah.
But I like hitting the goal because then I get something out of it. You may treat yourself to, I don't know, shoes, watch, whatever it may be. But you get that sense of, I've achieved something. Then there's always something else. Without goals, I'm just chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing.
But you are chasing. You're chasing goals.
That I'm hitting.
Yeah, which is fine. But this is what I had to learn. So this is why this is so important and part of that recovery. It's not goals you want to chase. If you're chasing a vision, but change it with your habits. So for an example, if I said to you, I want to lose weight, that's vague. If I said, right, okay, I want to lose 10 kilos in the next 12 months, that's a goal.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is driving that? Okay, right, so I call it the 4 areas of your life. Your professionalism, your personal, your spirituality, and your health.
Okay.
Right? So when you look at it, you say, what do I want my personal life to look like in the next 12 months? Okay, let's say right now, what's my health? I want to drop 10 kilos in the next 12 months. Okay, so what habits? That's my goals are there anyway. That's pretty much what goals are.
It's already
My
set.
vision's there. Because it's more about, because goals motivate, vision inspires. Right?
I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Because if you got something check that. If you got goals that motivate you, but then you got something that's pushing you forward, and you got an inspiration for a vision that's pulling you, how could you lose? Because you're pushing in the same direction, pulling in the same direction. So if I said to myself, right, this is what same with addiction. So what habits do I need to change? Well, I need to eat better. I need to get myself in the gym. I need to drink 2 liters of water a day. I need to have healthier walks. I need all these things. So these are habit changes that will meet your goals anyway, because it's meeting your vision. So when I've looked at that perspective, everything shifts, because when you look at it from this perspective, most people are focused on the goals and not looking at what their life looks like. When I was able to do that, this is why I've been able to go, right, how do I rewire my whole path from someone who I was, but tuning into someone who I am? Totally different mindset.
So tell me about Soch care and red card gambling. How did this become your purpose?
So it started off 5th of October 2021. I realized that there are more people like me out there from the South Asian community that are suffering in silence. And the worst part was, I was like, I didn't want to do it for them because I didn't want to be seen by them. So I started going out to the world and going, look, I'm Harj Gahley, I'm a recovering gambling addict, here's my story. And as much as I was trying to move away from them, I was being pulled towards them.
Hold on 1 second there, because I missed a key bit. Your wife knew? family knew what, or you told family during recovery. We need to go back to that bit. But you told family during recovery, so everyone got told during recovery. Was that part of the process?
No, I was focused on my recovery first, but when you say my family, I told them when I was pretty much so 5th of October 2021. It was, I would say, about July, August 21, where I told them what happened, what was going on.
Okay, and this is like all your relatives, everyone in your
Pretty much my mum, dad, yeah.
So then back to it now. When we're talking about the companies now, and you speaking to people, you didn't have any fear of putting it out there because your people already knew, right?
At first I did,
Oh,
but then I
why?
always told myself, because when most people fear their perception, right? What do people think of me? Because we are people pleasers.
Yeah, of
I
course.
remember I had lived with that for a big part of my life, so
Hmm.
I had to come over that. And the best way I do it is I was looking for progression, not perfection. So it means I'm not going to get it right. So if I go out there and just share my story, um, hopefully it inspires someone else. So, so for me, it always reminds me of this Brené Brown quote, which says, "One day you'll tell your story of what you've overcome and survived, and that will become someone else's survival guide."
Which is amazing.
Love that, and that's what spurred me on. So yes, when I went out and I told people, did I get backlash? 100%.
Hmm.
I got 100. I'm gonna say, okay. Let me tell you about something. The reason I did this because I went viral online.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if you've seen this. I was on Tipping Point. Have you ever seen like a singer in a turban on Tipping Point? Right. People that might have seen them might have seen it. I was that person. I came up with a stupid answer. It went viral.
Yeah.
This is in 2018, height my addiction. But I'd been out there and I've experienced a lot of the keyboard warriors. But when I came out with this, it was much worse because now I'm talking about my community. I'm talking about what I'm doing. So I had that societal. You're a waste of space.
Oh shit, they're all coming for you.
Oh man, how could you just do religion? You're not a Sikh. You should top yourself. You're ashamed to your family,
All of that.
bro. I've had it all. But you know what? Through it, I just knew through it. There's others people that were like shit. Because I'm egotistically, I was doing this to hold myself accountable to stay on the path of recovery.
Hmm.
And I was doing this because I came from, remember, addiction's never the issue. Let's
Hmm.
be honest with you. It comes from a place of pain.
Yeah.
So this was helping heal my pain. But I was doing it also because every time I went out there, it also reminded me of the pain it caused me for my family. But things shifted very quickly. And what happened was it no longer became about my pain and my family's pain. It became about me helping other people's pain.
Purpose.
Yeah. So in our Sikhi, we call this thing seva, which means to selflessly give without any expectation or anything in return. I want to help, genuinely want to help. And when that first person I helped has come through the other side, I'm still addicted. I realize I'm still going to be an addict my whole life,
Hmm.
even to when I die. But now I'm just addicted to helping people.
How did you? Not even how did you? So you got the hate mail.
Yeah.
Did a lot of love come with it at the same time, or any love when you first started?
Yeah. So I had what they call the 20-60-20.
Hmm.
I had the 20% of people that were my ride or die, that loved it and loved the message. I had the 60% of people, which are your silent majority. Those are the people that watch what you do, don't comment, but know exactly
But they're
what's
there. They
happening.
can tell you everything about
Yeah,
yourself. Hmm.
exactly. And then you got the 20% that anything you say, they absolutely hate. So yeah. So I had both polar opposites. But through this, I realized that if I can piss off the 80% of people to attract more of the 20% people, I'm doing something good here. Which
Hmm.
is why I call out the shame, the stigmas, the what's happening in our cultures. So within October 21, I've helped more than about 200 people from the South Asian community start their recovery journey. Not just the addict, but also their families, affected others, because they're also people affected too. But I'm now getting not just gambling, I'm getting alcohol, I'm getting drugs. I have a few cases through domestic violence and other bits and bobs. Porn addiction is another one.
Hmm.
And I said to myself, well, what's out there really for this market? There are some fantastic charities, but they're all doing it in silos or for their own communities. There's no one that's actually doing one which is culturally aligned awareness and treatment. So NHS, they're great at treating a problem, but not understanding the person.
Yeah.
So I realized when like any business,
Hmm.
I found my USP, I found my market in the niche, and I found where my gap was, And I said to myself, rather than in silos, I want to group everyone together. So not only Soch cares, which if I tell you what that means, so in our language, Soch means to think. So when you do something, be mindful, think about what you're about to do. I just took Soch care as in CRE.
Okay.
So it's mindfulness of the brain and taking care of your mind. You do that and everything else follows. So by doing that, we focus. So Soch care focuses on the gambling, drugs, and alcohol for all South Asians in English, Arabic, Punjabi, Hindi, Gujarati, Urdu, because we do not want language to be a barrier. We want all people to be seen and heard. But more importantly, our strapline is very simple: breaking stigmas, rebuilding lives.
That's amazing.
That's what we're here to do.
Another touchy subject. Gambling been pushed on boys of a young age now. YouTubers, ad influencers, all of that stuff. What do you think is the cost of this?
Right, I'm going to be a bit mindful here. So let me give some context before I answer that as well. So in the UK, the betting industry generates 15.1 billion, not million, billion in revenues. They spend about 1.5 billion on ads. So you turn on YouTube, you turn on social media, what's the first thing you see?
Betting ads.
Not only that now, you're seeing it on Reels. You see a specific crypto-based currency casino, which Drake pushes a lot of, sponsoring a lot of these videos. A lot of these celebrities, people that you're seeing in front of you, singers, celebrities, comedians. There are streamers, there are music artists, podcasts that are sponsored by, remember the Huck Tour? Did a sponsor, obviously whatever happened, but some of these big podcasts out there are sponsored by some of these big betting operators. Why? Because they understand the parasocial dynamics and relationships between audience and these influencers. What they see, what they do. What they see, they'll do. So, for an example, we would see gambling ads as those 30-second ads online, right? There are streamers out there. So if you went on to kick.com right now, the top live category, and it's always number 3, is going to be casinos and slots. Last time I checked it yesterday, about 10 o'clock at night, there were 32,000 active users live category watching casinos and slots. Watching. But through this, they realize that, hold on, the industry is not stupid. These big companies are sponsoring these influencers, not little like I've heard of £20 million deals, £50 million deals. Why? Because it's no longer about the older generation. It's no longer about the age gaps of me and you, that sort of 28 to 35. It's about the younger generation.
Feeding them in from young.
Yeah. It's about, well, think about it. Loot boxes, skims, FIFA packs, Roblox. Like Roblox, they actually have this thing on there which is, let's go gamble. Bear in mind, more than 50% of those users are about underage, about that 13 to 15, right? So there was a statistic that I ran a piece of research with GambleAware, and in the UK we found that 27% of 11 to 17-year-olds have gambled with their own money in the last 12 months. Bear in mind that gambling is illegal for anyone under age of 18. Kids are not stupid. They are smart. So it's not about telling them what not to do. It's about educating them what they think they should be doing. So for an example, right, I did a talk at school. 11-year-old was talking to me about, well, isn't the low index fund and S&P 500s and bonds investments? How old are you? I'm 11. But that same child also came up to me after and he said, I've got a 6-year-old that spent £300 on Roblox through my iPad using my mum's debit card.
Yeah.
A 6-year-old can use a mum's debit card. That's the reality of what we face. So what I say to parents is be mindful of once they get access to the online world. There was a survey done which shared that the youngest age group now that is getting access to mobile phones, I believe, is 7 years old.
Yeah, it's getting very young.
Right. So, and the two things they watch are YouTube and social media. So it's not about telling them what not to do. It's about having a better conversation. My friend Amit talks about this well. He said, because no, like when we were kids and our parents used to tell us, how's school? What's the first answer?
It's okay.
Fine. It's okay. But it's how we have that different conversation. For an example, he said to me, because when you talk to your kids, say stuff like, um, you know, what did you do online today? Is there anything that you didn't like? Is there anything that upset you? Did someone send you a message? Did you send someone a message? So how do you have those conversations for them to start figuring out? Because they're still going through the emotions, right? So how do you have those conversations which get them to educate and also learn through the process, as opposed to just going, nope, I'm going cold turkey and pulling it away? Because you tell a child not to do something, what are they going to do?
Exactly.
They're going to do it. So yeah, it's on the rise,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to get more on the rise. So I think the industry needs to be more. There needs to be, personally, there needs to be stricter regulations. There needs to be more power to charities like ourselves that can help more people. But I think there needs to be a bit more of a blanket ban in terms of, back in the days when we were young, porn can only be watched after a certain time. So it's like certain.
There need to be some filters.
There's got to be some filters, man. But I think parents can also do that very, very simply as well.
What's the biggest challenges you're facing at the moment, growing it?
Against the industry,
Mm-hmm.
the powers that be. Money equals power. They have money, they have power, but they're also steering a lot of the people in political places. The problem is for them to get the reach out, they will go spend millions. But people on our side were underfunded. So for us, the biggest problem is they're using the same platforms that are also used by the same companies that can get the message out there to promote those things. We're using it, but we also get so we can't even use certain words online.
Otherwise, you'll be silenced.
I would be silenced. So I can't even say suicide. I have to say unalive. Or can't say,
Yeah, I've realised that.
I have to use words like grape or other bits and bobs. So we have to now change our language so we don't get shadow banned or we don't get banned or our rules don't get taken down.
Have you ever had a moment of thinking, this ain't for me? Or I'm going to stop doing this? Or this is too big a challenge in a sense? Or
What? Me doing what I'm doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
No. Remember, I'm still an addict.
Just found your purpose.
I've just found my purpose. So I'm one of the lucky ones that walks with purpose. So every day I get to go, do you know what? Every day above the ground is a blessing and I get to walk with purpose. So I am that person that's fighting the Goliaths. I'm David right now. So not only am I I was on GB News the other day, I'm in Parliament, I'm talking to policymakers. And there's, for an example, I sat there at the GLA meeting against the director of NHS, this policymaker, this person, Sadiq Khan, these big, and there's little old me, Harj from Slough. The
Harj from Slough, that's my new one. Harj from Slough.
Harj from Slough.
Welcome, guys. We've got Harj from Slough.
But for me, the imposter syndrome kicked in. But I realised in that moment, I caught myself. I was like, these fuckers got to listen to me because I've been through that steps and they don't know exactly what it feels like. So actually, shut up, listen to me because you're going to learn something, not the way around. And that changed the dynamics. I remember the head of the chair of the GLA, he came up to me after, he goes, also Indian guy, he goes, bloody hell, you had a bit of balls of fucking steel on you. And I realised that it's not about stopping me, it's about how do I do more of it. So nothing's going to stop me because you can't stop a man with purpose.
That's a beautiful way to end. Now I'm going to give you some rapid fire questions.
Go for it.
One word to describe your life before recovery.
Chaotic.
One word to describe it now.
Grounded.
What's something you used to value that you no longer do?
Status.
A book or resource that changed your mindset.
The therapy room.
What does success look like to you today?
When my children say dad, I'm fully present. That's all I need.
That's a great way to end. Harj, thank you very much for coming on today.
Appreciate it, bro. And thank you for some probing questions. I love this, man, because you talk about topics that not many people do. So hats off to yourself, man.
Appreciate you. Harj, thank you for being open, honest, and fearless in sharing what most people are too scared to admit. And to anyone listening, if your life's spiraling, there is help. There is a way forward. If you've got a powerful story that could help someone else, we want to hear from you. Please reach out. This is the Gentleman's Health Hub, real talk for real growth. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us keep pushing these conversations into spaces that really need them. Until next time, look after yourself and look out for one another. Thank you.